So this is 5 pages. It includes a diagram, and I will describe the diagram to the best of my abilities. It is basically, actually I'll describe it right now real quick. The diagram is a altar diagram. To the left is the goddess candle. In the center, back, along with the goddess candle, are flowers. This is a very, very basic altar, and it's kind of more of a homage. On the right-hand side will be the god candle. So this comprises the back row. Goddess candle, flowers, and god candle. In front of the flowers in the center is the censer. Everybody know what a censer is? Censer is what you're going to burn your incense in. Now in front of that will be your offering plate. Okay? So this is the diagram described to the best of my ability. Okay? So you're looking at offering plate, censer, flowers, straight up the middle. Back left, goddess candle. Back right, god candle. Okay? And we will continue with Chapter 2, the deities. All religions are structures built upon the reverence of deity. Wicca is no exception. The Wicca acknowledge a supreme divine power, unknowable, ultimate, from which the entire universe sprang. The concept of this power, far beyond our comprehension, has nearly been lost in Wicca because of our difficulty in relating to it. However, Wiccans link with this force through their deities, in accordance with the principles of nature. The supreme power was personified into 2 basic beings, the goddess and the god. Every deity that has received worship upon this planet exists with the archetypal, I can never say that, god and goddess. The complex pantheons of deities which arose in many parts of the world are simply aspects of the 2. Every goddess is resident within the concept of the goddess. Every god in the god. Wicca reveres these twin deities because of its links with nature. Since most, but certainly not all, nature is divided into gender, the deities embodying it are similarly conceived. In the past, when the god and goddess were as real as the moon and sun, rites of worship and adoration were unstructured and spontaneous, joyous union with the divine. Later, rituals followed the course of the sun through its astronomical year, and thusly its seasons, as well as the monthly waxing and waning of the moon. Today, similar rites are observed by the Wicca, and their regular performances creates a truly magical closeness with these deities and the powers behind them. Fortunately, we don't need to wait for ritual occasions to be reminded of the god's presence. The sight of a perfect blossom in a field of bare earth can instill feelings rivaling those of the most powerful formal rite. Living in nature makes every moment a ritual. The Wiccans believe the Wiccans are comfortable in communicating with plants, animals, and trees. They feel the energies within stones and sand, and cause fossils to speak of their primeval beginnings. For some Wiccans, watching the sun or moon rise and set each day is a ritual unto itself, for these are the heavenly symbols of the god and goddess. Because the Wicca see deity inherent in nature, many of us are involved in ecology, saving the earth from utter destruction by our own hands. The goddess and god still exist. They have always existed, and to honor them, we honor and preserve our precious planet. In Wiccan thought, the deities didn't exist before our spiritual ancestors acknowledged of them. However, the energies behind them did. They created us. Early worshippers recognized these forces as the god and goddess, personifying them in an attempt to understand them. The old ones didn't die when the ancient pagan rites fell to upstart Christianity in Europe. Most of the rites vanished, but they weren't the only effective ones. Wicca is alive and well, and the deities respond to our calls and invocations. When envisioning the goddess and god, many Wiccas see them as the well-known deities from ancient religions: Diana, Pan, Isis, Hermes, Hyena, Tammuz, Hecate, Ishtar, Zerdun, Thoth, Tara, Aradia, Artemis, Pele, Apollo, Carluna, Bridget, Helios, Fran, Lu, Hera, Cybele, Niana, Maui, yada, 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 yeah. Okay, we got that. The list is virtually endless. Many of these deities, with their corresponding histories, rites, and mythic information, furnish the concept of deity for Wiccans. Some feel comfortable associating such names and forms with the goddess and god, feeling that they can't possibly revere nameless divine beings. Others find a lack of names and costumes comforting. Others find a lack of names and costumes a comforting lack of limitations. Sorry, I had a cough. As stated earlier, the Wicca as outlined in this book is new. Although it is built upon established rituals and myths firmly rooted within the earliest religious feelings which nature aroused within our species, in these rituals I've used the word the god and goddess rather than specific names such as Diana and Pan. Anyone with a special affinity with the particular deities should feel free to adapt the rituals in Section 3, the Standing Stone Book of Shadows, to include them. If you haven't studied non-Western polytheistic religions or developed a rapport with divinities other than those with which you were raised, start by accepting this premise, if only for the moment. Deity is twin, consisting of the goddess and the god. They have been given so many names. They have been called the Nameless Ones. In appearance, they look exactly as we wish them to, for they are all the deities that ever were. The goddess and god are all-powerful, because they are the creators of all manifest and unmanifest existence. We can contact and communicate with them because a part of us is in them and a part of them is within us. The goddess and god are equal. Neither is higher or deserving of more respect. Though some Wiccans focus their rituals towards the goddess and seem to forget the god entirely, this is a reaction to centuries of stifling patriarchal religion and the loss of acknowledgement of the feminine aspect of deity. Religion based entirely on feminine energy, however, is unbalanced and unnatural, as one totally masculine is in focus. The ideal is a perfect balance between the two. The goddess and god are equal and complementary. Subchapter: The Goddess. The goddess is the universal mother. She is the source of fertility, is endless wisdom, and loving caresses. As the Wicca know her, she is often depicted in three aspects: the maiden, the mother, and the crone, symbolized in the waxing, full, and waning moon. She is at once the unplowed field, the full harvest, and the dormant, frost-covered earth. She gives birth to abundance, but as life is her gift, she lends it with the promise of death. This is not darkness and oblivion, but rest from the toils of physical existence. It is human existence between incarnations. Since the goddess is nature, all nature, she is both the temptress and the crone, the tornado and the fresh spring rain. She is the cradle and the grave. But though she is possessed of both natures, the Wicca revere her as the giver of fertility, love, and abundance, though they acknowledge her darker side as well. We see her in the moon, the soundless ever-moving sea, and in the green growth of the first spring. She is the embodiment of fertility and love. The goddess has been known as the Queen of Heaven, Mother of the gods that made the gods, the divine source, the universal matrix, the Great Mother, and countless other titles. Many symbols are used in Wicca to honor her, such as the cauldron, cup, labrys, five-petaled flowers, the mirror, necklace, seashell, pearl, silver, emerald, just to name a few. As she has dominion over earth, sea, and moon, her creatures are varied and numerous. A few include the rabbit, the bear, the owl, the cat, dog, bat, goose, cow, dolphin, lion, horse, wren, scorpion, spider, and bee. All of these are sacred to the goddess. The goddess has been depicted as a huntress, running with her hounds, a celestial deity striding across the sky with stardust falling from her heels. The eternal mother, heavy with child, weaver of lives and deaths. A crone walking by waning moonlight, seeking out the weak and forlorn, and many other beings. But no matter how we envision her, she is omnipresent, changeless, and eternal. The god has been revered for eons. He is neither the stern, all-powerful deity of Christianity and Judaism, nor is he simply the consort of the goddess. God and goddess are equal and one. We see the god in the sun brilliantly shining overhead during the day, rising and setting in endless cycles which govern our lives. Without the sun we could not exist. Therefore it has been revered as the source of all life. The warmth that bursts the dormant seeds into life and hastens the greening of the earth after the cold snows of winter. The god is also tender of wild animals. As the horned god, he is sometimes seen wearing horns on his head, symbolizing his connection with these beasts. In earlier time, hunting was one of the activities thought to be ruled by the god, while the domestication of animals was seen to be goddess-oriented. The god's domain includes forests untouched by human hands, burning deserts and towering mountains. The stars, since they are but distant suns, are sometimes thought to be under his domain. The yearly cycle of greening, maturing, and harvest has long been associated with the sun, hence the solar festivals of Europe, further discussed in Chapter 8, The Days of Power, which are still observed in Wicca. The god is the fully ripened harvest, intoxicating wine pressed from grapes, golden grain waving in a lone field, shimmering apples hanging from verdant boughs in October afternoons. With the goddess, he also celebrates and rules sex. The Wicca don't avoid sex or speak of it in hushed words. It's part of nature and is accepted as such, except when there are minors about. Footnote. Since it brings pleasure, shifts our awareness away from the everyday world, and perpetuates our species, it is also thought to be sacred. The god imbues us with that urge and ensures our species' biological future. Symbols often used to depict or worship the god include the sword, horns, spear, candle, gold and brass diamonds, the sickle, arrow, magical wand, trident, and knife, among others. Creatures sacred to him include the bull, dog, snake, fish, stag, dragon, the wolf, the boar, the eagle, the falcon, shark, lizard, and many others. Of old, the god was the sky father, and the goddess the earth mother. The god of the sky of rain and lightning descended upon and united with the goddess, spreading seed upon the land, celebrating her fertility. Today the deities of Wicca are still firmly associated with fertility, but every aspect of human existence can be linked to the goddess and god. They can be called upon to help us sort through the vicissitudes of our existence and bring joy into our often spiritually bereft lives. This doesn't mean that when problems occur, we should leave them in the hands of the goddess. This is a stalling maneuver, an avoidance of dealing with the bumps in the road of life. However, Wiccans can call on the god and goddess to clear our minds and help us help ourselves. Magic is an excellent means of accomplishing this. After attuning with the goddess and god, Wiccans ask their assistance during magical rites that usually follow. Beyond this, the goddess and god can help us change our lives, because the deities are the creative forces of the universe, not just symbols. We call upon them to empower our rites and to bless our magic. Again, this is in direct opposition to most religions. The power is in the hands of every practitioner, not specialized priests or priestesses who can perform these feats for the masses. This is what makes Wicca a truly satisfying way of life. We have direct links with the deities. No intermediaries are needed. No priests, no confessors, no shamans. We are the shamans. To develop a rapport with the goddess and goddess is a necessity. For those who aspire to practice Wicca, you might wish to follow these simple rituals. At night, stand or sit facing the moon if it's visible. If not, imagine the fullest moon you've ever seen, glowing silver-white in the inky blackness directly above and before you. Feel the soft lunar light streaming into your skin. Sense its touch, mixing with your own energies, commingling and forming new patterns. See the goddess in any form you will. Call to her, chanting old names if you wish. Diana, Lucina, Selena. Open your heart and your mind to the aspect of the goddess energy manifested in the moon's light. Repeat this daily for 1 week, preferably at the same time each night. Concurrently with this exercise, attune yourself with the god. Upon rising in the morning, no matter how late it is, stand before the sun, through a window if necessary, outside if possible, and soak in its energies. Think about the god, visualize him as you wish. It might be as a mighty warrior, rippling with muscles, a spear upraised in one hand, the other cradling a child or a bunch of dew-dripping grapes. You may want to chant the names of the gods, Keranunos, Osiris, Apollo, as with the goddess. If you don't wish to visualize the god, for visualizations can impose limitations, simply attune yourself with the energies pouring down from the sun, even if clouds fill the skies. The god's energies will still reach you. Feel them with all your magical imagination. Let no thoughts but those of the god disturb your reverie. Reach out with your feelings. Open your awareness to higher things. Call upon the god in any words. Express your desire to attune with him. Practice these exercises daily for 1 week if you wish to explore the concepts of the goddess and god. Read books on mythology from any country in the world. Read the myths, but look for their underlying themes. The more you read, the more information you'll have at your fingertips. Eventually, it will merge into a non-structured but extremely complex knowledge bank concerning the deities. In other words, you'll begin to know them. If after 7 days you feel the need or desire, continue these exercises until you feel comfortable with the god and goddess. They've been in us and around us all the time. We need only to open ourselves to this awareness. This is one of the secrets of Wicca. Deity dwells within. In your quest to know the gods, take long walks beneath the trees, study flowers and plants, visit wild, natural places, and feel the energies of the goddess and god directly. Through the rush of a stream, the pulse of energy from an oak's trunk, the heat of a sun-warmed rock. Familiarizing yourself with the existence of the deities comes more easily through actual contact with such sources. Next, when you have achieved this state, you may wish to set up a temporary or a permanent shrine or an altar to the god and goddess. This doesn't need to be more than a table, 2 candles, an incense burner, a plate or a bowl to hold offerings, fruit, grain, seed, wine, or milk. Now, this is the diagram that I gave you earlier. Okay? And place the 2 candles in their holders to the rear of the shrine. The candle on the left represents the goddess. That one on the right, the god. Colors that are often used to distinguish between the two. A red candle for the god, and a green one to honor the goddess. These can also be silver and gold. This ties in with the nature associations of Wicca, for green and red are ancient magical colors linked with life and death. Others can be used, yellow or gold to honor the god, white or silver to honor the goddess. Before and between these candles, place an incense burner. In the front of this place, an offering bowl. A vase of seasonal flowers can also be added. as can any personal power objects such as crystals, fossils, and dried herbs. To begin a simple ritual to the gods at your shrine, stand before it with an offering of some kind in your hand. Light the candles and incense. Place the offering in a bowl or a plate, and say such words as these: Lady of the moon, of the restless sea, of the verdant earth, Lord of the sun and of the wild creatures, accept this offering I place in your honor. Grant me the wisdom to see your presence in all nature, O great ones. Afterwards, sit or stand for a few minutes in contemplation of the deities, and of your growing relationship with them. Feel them inside and around you. Then quench the flames. Use your fingers or a candle snuffer or a knife blade. Blowing them out is an affront to the element of fire. Allow the incense to burn itself out and continue on your day or on your night. If you wish, go before the shrine once a day at a prescribed time. This may be done upon rising or just before sleep or after lunch. Light the candles, attune and commune with the god and goddess. This isn't necessary, but the steady rhythm set up by the cycle is beneficial and will improve your relationship with the deities. Return the offerings left on the shrine to the earth at the end of each day, or when you bring more or to leave. If you cannot erect a permanent shrine, set it up each time you feel the need to use it, then store the articles away. Make a placing of the objects on the shrine a part of the ritual. This simple rite belies its powers. The goddess and god are real, viable entities possessing the force that created the universe. Attuning with them changes us forever. It also sparks new hope for our planet and for our continued existence upon it. If this rite is too formalized for you, change it or write your own. This is the basic thrust of the book. Do it your way, not simply my way because I've set it down on paper. I can never fit my feet into somebody else's footprints in the sand. There's no one true right way, and only way in Wicca. That thinking belongs to monotheistic religions which have largely become political and business institutions. Discovering the deities of Wicca is a never-ending experience. They are constantly revealing themselves. As the shamans say, be attentive. All nature is singing to us her secrets. The goddess constantly draws aside her veil. The god lights up with an inspiration and illumination. We simply don't notice. Don't worry what others might think if they knew you were attuning with a 20,000-year-old goddess. Their feelings and thoughts concerning your religion are no consequence. If you feel the need to shelter your experiences from others, do so. Not out of fear or embarrassment, because we're all on truly separate paths. Everyone isn't suited to Wicca. There are some who say that we, and anyone else who doesn't follow their rituals or embrace their theology, are worshipping Satan. Not that we know it, of course. Satan is too tricky for that, according to these experts. Such people can't believe that any religion but their own can be meaningful, fulfilling, and true to its adherent. So if we worship the god and goddess, they say we're denying all good and we're worshipping Satan, the embodiment of all negativity and evil. Wiccans aren't so close-minded. Perhaps it's the greatest of all human vanities to assume that one religion is the only way to deity. Such beliefs have caused incalculable bloodshed and the rise of hideous concept of holy wars. The basis of this misconception seems to be the concept of a pristine, pure, positive being, God. If this deity is the sum of all good, worshippers believe that there must be an equally negative one as well, and thus we have Satan. The Wicca don't accept such ideas. We acknowledge the dark aspects of the god and the goddess as well as the bright. All nature is composed of opposites, and this polarity is also resident within ourselves. The darkest human traits, as well as the brightest, are locked within our unconsciousness. It is only our ability to rise above destructive urges, to channel such energies into positive thoughts and actions, that separate us from the mass murderers and the sociopaths. Yes, the god and goddess have dark aspects, but this needn't scare you off. Look at some of the manifestations of their powers. From the ravaging flood comes rich soil, in which new plants thrive. Death brings a deeper appreciation of life, to the living and to the rest of the transcended one. Good and evil are often identical in nature, depending on one's viewpoint. Additionally, out of every evil, some good must be born. Any and all religions are real, the genuine article to their practitioners. There can never be one religion, one prophet or savior that will satisfy all 5 billion humans. Each of us must find our ideal way to attune with deity. For some, it's Wicca. Wiccans emphasize the bright aspects of the deities because this gives us purpose to grow and to evolve to our highest realm of existence. When death, destruction, hurt, pain, and anger appears in our lives, as they must, we can turn to the goddess and god and know that this is part of them too. We needn't blame a devil on these natural aspects of life and call upon a pure, white god to fend them off. In truly understanding the god and goddess, one comes to understand life, for the two are inextricably intertwined. Live your earthly life fully, but try to see the spiritual aspects of your activities as well. Remember, the physical and spiritual are but reflections of each other. When I give classes, one question seems to come up frequently. What is the meaning of life? It may be asked with a laugh, but this is one question that, if answered, satisfies any others we may have. It is the problem every religion and philosophical system has struggled to solve. Anyone can find the answer through the simple technique of living and observing life. Though two people won't find the same answers, they can find them together. The goddess and god are of nature, both the delightful and the dark. We don't worship nature as such. Some Wiccans probably don't even say that they worship a goddess and god. We don't bow down to deities. We work with them to create a better world. This is what makes Wicca a truly participatory religion. And that was the end of Chapter 2, Deities.